It's been pretty incredible to just see the response I've gotten from participants. They seem very happy to be here.
Washington County's mental health court aimed at helping low-level offenders get the support they need, just now getting started. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi takes us inside the courtroom now for one of the program's first proceedings and explains why the judge feels this program can make a huge difference.
That's very important for you to make that appointment.
In just the second proceeding of mental health court in Washington County, Judge Tara Stevenson tells participants consistency is key to success in the program.
Consistency, accountability, I think will go a long way into helping people get their lives together.
Last week, the county announced the start of a specialized court, which provides support and resources to help vulnerable individuals who committed low-level crimes avoid reoffending.
Challenges for this population are even more so than your typical population who have pending criminal charges. There's also mental health issues on top of that. So things like having access to a phone, having access to a car, these aren't just things we can take for granted that people have. And so we're definitely, we're funded to fill in those gaps.
The program is being funded by a $500,000 grant. One by one, Judge Stevenson checked in with the individuals, ensuring they meet program requirements, including weekly doctor visits, parole officer check-ins, and weekly court appearances.
It's been pretty incredible to just see the response I've gotten from participants. They seem very happy to be here. They're happy to be getting the extra services and support that we're offering, and just ready to get their lives together and looking for the help to do that.
A former prosecutor herself, Judge Stevenson says this program is about ensuring public safety while reducing recidivism.
Handled many of the civil mental commitments that come through that office, so I dealt with this population a lot, and I just saw a need for something like this many years ago, and I feel very thrilled and grateful that I get to do this.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
County says it has 3 confirmed participants and are looking for 20 total. Program is 14 months long, and participants are looking to work toward a dismissal of all those charges. Arkansas State Police have identified a murder victim in a cold case that dates back more than 40 years. They now believe a body found in 1984 was 53-year-old Earl McDaniel from Kansas City. They say RDOT crews made the discovery along Interstate 40 in Lono County back then. The initial autopsy from 1984 shows that McDaniel died from strangulation. State police, though, say the cold case unit was able to use DNA evidence to identify the victim, but the investigation into what happened continues. We're also following developments tonight on the latest round of trade tariffs announced this week. The president says he's postponed the 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada until next month, but not before the Canadian government announced retaliatory tariffs at 25%. It's expected to impact about $30 billion worth of U.S. goods. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis has the details on what the products could see a price increase and how it's going to affect us here at home. Kayla?
Darren, according to Lending Tree, Arkansas gets 43% of its imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, and ranks 26 in the country for most vulnerable to tariffs. One local business, Ozark Brew Company, says the threat of those looming tariffs makes running their business stressful. Brewing companies use a significant amount of aluminum for cans and malt, a specific grain used to brew beer. Both of those products are imported from Canada, but with a potential 25% import on those products in the near future, co-owner of Ozark Brew Company, Lacey Bray, says the brewing industry will be impacted significantly.
We laid off half of our staff in January preparing for this. With the chaos of we're going to do tariffs, we're going to push them off. It really doesn't allow a situation for businesses to plan accordingly. We have to be very reactive because we don't know what's coming.
President Trump announced in his Tuesday address to Congress that all tariffs will be officially implemented on April 2nd. Kayla Davis, 5 News.
All right, Kayla, thanks. Today in the Arkansas State Capitol, lawmakers spent time debating ways to make schools across the state safer. As Rebecca Brown explains, one plan being talked about would use new technology to keep school staff in touch with emergency services during a crisis.
So 1492 is a goal to create a wearable panic alert device for all teachers.
It may not be a new device globally, but it could be groundbreaking for Arkansas. On Thursday, Representative Zach Grimlick introduced legislation designed to incorporate new technology to support schools across the state.
It tells us exactly where we're in the school so that admin, school resource officers could respond, or even as it talks in the bill about integrating with local public safety answering point infrastructure so that we can have police notified immediately.
This proposal draws inspiration from Alyssa's law, which has been passed in 7 other states as of May 2024. During the House Education Committee meeting, Alyssa's mother, Lori Alfadev, shared her support for the bill and the tragic story behind it.
Alyssa was my beautiful, fearless 14-year-old daughter. She was full of life, passion, and dreams. But on February 14, 2018, that future was stolen. She was one of the 17 victims murdered at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida.
Alfadev emphasized that the legislation's primary goal is to save lives by reducing response times during emergencies. However, some lawmakers expressed concerns about the funding of the project.
Some of the concerns that I have for my schools are that are already tight. There's no funding. How are we going to pay for this? And this looks pretty expensive.
In response, Grimlick estimated that the cost for a large campus will be around $8,000 per year. Arkansas Department of Education Secretary Jacob Oliva also attended in support of the bill and shared more insights about the funding.
As we go deeper into enhancing our level of commitment around safety, I think there's an opportunity, if that funding was sustained, that we could take a portion of that funding and do a statewide procurement to invest in something of this caliber.
In Little Rock, Rebecca Brown, 5 News.
Committee members say they plan to add new amendments to that bill and reintroduce it before the end of this legislative session. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders announcing a new executive order today in Arkansas that bans several China-based apps from state-issued phones and devices. The ban includes the artificial intelligence app DeepSeek and social media apps RedNote and Lemon 8. Sandra Laderman with the UA Little Rock Cybersecurity Department says the ban makes sense because the security risk the apps pose for government officials.
If there's a data breach on a Chinese-owned app, we don't know if there is and what they're doing about it. We also don't know what they're doing with the data. Who are they giving it to? Who are they sharing it with?
TikTok has been banned on government phones in Arkansas since early 2023. Arkansas Department of Health releasing new weekly flu report today. The latest numbers show overall infection rates are on the decline. They say the current level of infection fell to moderate this week from high levels just last week. Number of deaths, though, did see a significant rise with 20 reported in the last week, brings the total up to 107 since last September. School absentee rates also fell this week to 6.5%, down nearly 13% from last week. Happening this week in Fort Smith, Southside High School playing host to Division II college basketball teams. Great American Conference men's and women's tournaments got underway today with the quarterfinals. Conference features teams from Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. It is the first time Fort Smith has hosted this tournament and part of a 2-year agreement that will bring games to Northside High School next year.
You know, we have been working with the conference in the city of Fort Smith. We took a bid to try to make this happen way back last year, and we won that bid. So this is the first year for that conference to be here in Fort Smith, and so we're excited to put on a show.
Both the men's and women's tournament finals will be this Sunday at Southside High School.